Hello, it's Kate Bolt, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the UK, and I'm back to show you how to make another fun card. Now, this one I made at my coffee and cards yesterday, and it's called an infinity card. Got the kind of never-ending card that goes on and on and on. Look, it kind of keeps going round and round. I absolutely love this kind of card, and I thought about making one in the past, but I always thought it looked really difficult. So I had a go, and it's actually very simple to make. It really is very easy. So I'm really pleased I had a go, and I'll show you how I made it. Now, I normally upload my coffee and card videos straight to YouTube, but it was a little bit long, so I thought I'd make a nice concise one to put on here. So here's the kind of practice one that I made out of paper. I always recommend making a fun fold out of a bit of paper first, or a bit of spare cardstock, just to make sure you've got it all right. And yeah, that was my kind of net, my practice. Yeah, so, and I've written on there then, when I got to the end, on my scrappy one, like this is the front, and this is where I'm putting my sentiment, and so on. So I could use that as my kind of go-to to look at. Right, but this is what you need. It's very simple. You need 4 pieces of cardstock, 3 by 6 inches, and that is all you need, okay? So I'm going to get my trimmer out and I'm going to show you. We're going to do a very little bit of scoring, not too much at all. Right, now each piece of this, we're going to use the scoring blade, and we're going to score it at 1.5 centimetres and 4.5 centimetres. Not centimetres, inches. Everything's in inches. So 1.5 and 4.5 inches on all of these. Here we go, 1.5, 4.5. So with a long bit at the top, 1.5. Four and a half. Last one. 1.5. 4.5. Okay. Now I'm going to get out my bone folder and really crease those creases. The old one here, this one will do. So where those creases are, you want these to be nice sharp creases. So use a bone folder or something like that to make sure that they're really scored well, because you want your card to fold well and move about. Okay, so that's that. So you end up with 4 of those. Like so. Okay, so we've got those done. Okay, now so you've got 4 of these. Now I'm going to take 2 of them. I'm going to set the other 2 aside, and I'm going to put a little mark on these. So I'm bringing my scorer back in. You can use a pencil if you prefer, but I'm going to use my scorer to do it. Now on these 2 end panels here, I want a score line at 1.5 inches, and I just want it at the top a little bit. It's just a demarcation here. I don't really need it anywhere else, and it could be pencil if you prefer, and then you can rub it out. It's just to show me where I'm going to put my adhesive. Excuse me, and I'm just doing that on 2 of them. So the short side at the top, we want 1.5 and 1.5. Like that. That's as difficult as that is, okay? So there we go. Now I'm just going to grab my tape, because we're going to start putting it together already. It's such an easy one to make. Okay, so we have got the pieces that we've just used the scorer on here, like that, and then we've got these 2 other pieces. So if you have them like that, you can see what we're doing. Okay, but I'm going to put some tearing tape on this now, and the reason I put these little score lines is to show that I just want to put adhesive at the top here and the top here, and not these 2 corners, and the same on these 2. So I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. I love our tearing tape because it literally tears where you want it to tear. So pop it there, and it's not too wide. Pop it there. So a bit at the top to anchor it, and then another bit here. Like that. And then we're going to do the same on the bottom. Keep it with, and you know, before the score line here. Don't know if you can hear my little doggy and he's wandering about my craft room, and then my little cat's meowing in the windowsill. It's like a menagerie. Okay. There we go. So that piece and that piece. That's all the adhesive I need for now. Okay, so this is the fun bit. We're going to take all of this off. There we go. You can use your prick tool, or take your pick tool to do this, or your fingernail, whatever works. That's one of them. We'll get there in a sec. Oh, there we are. Okay, so we've got all those pieces. Now this is the fun bit where the mechanism starts. So I'm going to take my first other one, and I'm going to layer it over the top, and I'm going to make these two right hand corners sit exactly together and butt it all the way up so that it's kind of flush, and stick it down. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side with the other piece on the left hand corner. Now when you do this, just make sure that these two, this edge in the middle here, doesn't overlap, because that's where you want some movement. So just bring it down so that you have it's flush here and you have a tiny gap here. And then we want to do this bit on the bottom, and to do that I'm going to do it this way. It makes it a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. And I am going to do the same again. I'm going to make it flush here, make sure I have a gap, and there we go. And that is it. That is your never-ending card before it's decorated. How simple is that? Now I'm going to start to fold this a little bit. Actually, I'm not sure if I should have done that. No, that doesn't matter, because we're going to cover up those sections. Okay, so here we go. We've got it here, we've got it here, and then we've got it here and here, and then we're going to have it here and here. So there is your never-ending card. How cool is that? Oh, now the fun bit is going to be decorating it. So this is the front. This is the front. This is the next layer. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we decorate it. Now, I chose to use one of our designer series papers that we've got at the moment. I think I put all mine away. It's the Pansies. Sorry, Alfie. I just stood on the dog. Right, I've put all mine away, but you'll be able to see. So the Pansies, not Pansies, yeah, Pansies, Pansy Patch papers, and they're so beautiful. And they're double-sided, big, thick, beautiful designer series papers. Come in these gorgeous colours, and they are a 12-pack of double-sided 12 by 12. But I'll show you what we're doing. So I've got one of these. I've got 2 sets of 8. Actually, I've got 3 sets of 8, possibly, of these squares. So this is the bit that takes the time, and that's simple as well in itself, but you know, this takes more time than making of the card to put these together. So I've got 8 of these, and I've got 8 of these, and I'm going to tell you the measurements, but I'll also put them in the description box. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I just chose the papers that I liked out of these Pansy Patch papers, and then I have got 8 squares. So I've got, let's move that down a bit, you can see 4 like with the leaves on, and 4 with this pretty pattern on again. So I looked at the colours that are in the designer series paper. The colours coordinate with all the Stampin' Up! Inks and cardstock. So I looked on the back of the pack, and it told me that we've got soft sage in there, we've got all sorts. We've got polished pink, we've got a fresh freesia, we've got evening evergreen, we've got calypso coral, I think that's pale papaya. We've got lots of beautiful colours, bumblebee. So I just chose some of the colours for my cardstock. So I went for soft succulent, and I went for pale papaya, and I put some white in there as well. And then my card base, you'll have noticed, is this lovely lilac-y colour, and that is this colour, which is fresh freesia. So I just coordinated the cardstock to match the papers. Okay, and you have 8 of this size, 8 of this size, and 8 of this size. And I'll tell you what the sizes are. Okay, so these squares that you need 8 of, some with coloured card, maybe some with white, whatever you like, they are 2 3/4 inches squares. Okay, and all mine have designer series papers on, but you could just have white ones to stamp sentiments on. You could do it however you like. So they're all 2 3/4 inches. Now, the second layer that I popped on the top, that's 1/4 inch smaller. So that's 2.5 by 2.5. Okay, so that's those there. Now, these little itty bitty ones at the bottom, these are 1 1/4 inch squares. And then the DSP on the top is 1 inch square. Now, these long oblong ones down here, that I've got a lot of these as well, those are 1 1/4 by 2 3/4 inches. Okay, so that makes them this DSP layer then will be 1 inch by 2.5 inches. So I'll pop all those down in the description bar at the end so you can have a look. Okay, so let's put all these to the side, and we can start decorating our infinity card, which makes the card. And then we'll do a little bit of stamping as well. So let's move all this out of the way. Right, let's bring in this is going to be the front of my card, like that, make sure. Okay, and I'm going to decide what's going on the front. So I think I am going for these beautiful ones on the front. Aren't they gorgeous? Like that. And then I want to put some long ones here. And I think I already decided which ones I wanted, because I was playing about with how I wanted it to look for these ones on here. That's cool, isn't it? Right, I'm going to go ahead and stick those down. You can see I wrote a little 1 on the back because I cut it all out, and I actually cut out my papers and my cardstock quite randomly. I just made the colours all kind of coordinate, and then at the end I pulled out my card base and decided which ones I wanted to go where. So it's not as, you know, contrived as you might think. There you are, which makes it easier to make. And I numbered mine. So yeah, put that on. Now, when I was making my one yesterday at Coffee and Cards, I was using my seal adhesive, which is actually one of my favourites, as a go-to. But the Tombow gives you this liquid Tombow glue gives you some wriggle room if you don't have it quite straight. So I went back to my Tombow because I found that a little bit easier for all these squares. So, but use your glue of choice, as long as it's a bit heavy duty. So got that one going there. This one here. Like so. Okay, so that's the front. Until we put some sentiments on, that's the front. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be layer 2. Let's see, what did I decide for layer 2? I decided on these ones with the pale papaya cardstock, which is really pretty, so we're going to go for those. So this would make a great card. I was thinking yesterday, if you did this with some real cute designer series paper, maybe something that had animals on or whatever you think. Make a great kids card, child's card, because they would love to play with the never-ending card, wouldn't they? So these are the ones I'm going to put in the corner on this one. So we're going to go for that. And it completely changes the card once you start putting the pattern paper on it, doesn't it? You'll probably take a little bit more time on yours than I am. The idea is the video doesn't take forever for you to watch. Okay. So glue all of those on, wherever you fancy them, whichever one you fancy to go on. But these pansy papers are perfect for it. Got some nice little designs in. So that's that one. Now it looks like we're leaving this blank, but actually when we go to the next layer, we'll be able to see that we stick some more pieces on that show through on these sides. So that will make more sense in a minute, like this here. So this is our third layer here. And I do believe that this is our third layer here. So I'm going to put those on. I'm excited to see what this looks like when it's finished. I think it's going to be just as pretty as the one I made yesterday, but a look different because of the different colours and the different papers. It would be even great for a man's card because you could do all sort of masculine colours on there and different things. So these four here then, therefore, by process of elimination, need to sit up here. Like so. You can cut these leaves in the designer series paper with the leaves on that has, with a stamp set, it has a die set. Cuts out the most incredible pansies. And you can build the pansies and all sorts, but it also cuts these leaves out of the designer series paper. How cool is that? So you could definitely do that if you had the set, and you could definitely then add those leaves in if you wanted. I might come back and do that later. So it actually cuts the leaves and embosses them out of cardstock, or you could, it also gives you the option to use the stamp the leaves and cut them out. So whichever way, but there we are. Does the same with the pansies themselves. And here's the last layer. So this is going to be my inside of the card, if you like. So I've used a fairly less neutral, less busy pattern for this one. I'm going to stick some sentiment panels over the top of this one, but it won't cover it up entirely. So I wanted some pretty paper on there, like that. I'm getting a bit gluey today. There we go. One. I would love to know what you think of this card. It's so much easier than I thought. And if you think you might have a go, let me know in the comments. But also, if you could let me know in the comments which Stampin' Up! Paper you think it would look best with, I would love to have a go. Let me know. So these are the last four panels. So this is great for scraps as well, don't you think? Because you don't need very large quantities of this paper to fill these gaps in. Although you do really want it to match. Now, another thing that's worth knowing is the direction of your designer series paper. So for these rectangle ones, I think it's the rectangle ones, it's the only ones that really matter. you need to have it going the way that it sits on the card. So if I had the pattern going this way, it wouldn't work. So just decide where you want your panels to be, and make sure your designer series paper is cut to fit. And if you're not sure, put everything together first and then cut your designer series paper to go in the little panels on the back. So there. How cool is that? Oh, that is so cool. I love that. So with these, if you had the stripes going that way, it wouldn't really matter, would it? But if you have a directional paper, you need your paper to go the right way. But if you're worried about it, use non-directional pattern. This is gorgeous. I love this. This is so fun. Right, we are back at the beginning, so we're going to do a little bit of stamping. I've got some cardstock here. I brought in a couple of the colours that we've got in the paper. We've got Fresh Freesia, Soft Succulent and Calypso Coral. And I have brought in some of the stamps from the stamp set. I'm cutting glue. We're done with the stamp set. That would be useful to know. I've got the stamps out that I wanted. I have got a birthday, and I've got another one, and I've got another sentiment. Oh, here it is, right next to my dies. Pansy Patch. So I'm going to use, it's a birthday card. I'm going to use happy birthday, wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you, and love you much. But there's lots of pretty sentiments on this Pansy Patch stamp set. This is the one that has dies to match. So yeah, I'm going to decide now. On the front, I think I'm going to do it in a nice bold colour. So I think Soft Succulent would get lost. I think Fresh Freesia would get lost. So I'm going to use Calypso Coral. And I'm going to do the happy birthday in Calypso Coral. Now I wanted either a label punch to punch it out or a die. So I chose on a die set, one of my favourite ones. Happy birthday. Look how lovely that stamps. So good, isn't it? So, and I went with one of my very favourite die sets. This is the Tasteful Label dies. And I have a feeling that these are on the retiring list. I need to check, but I'm pretty sure. So if you like these, grab them while you can. Just use a different set if you don't have them. So I think I'm going to go with the happy birthday in the circle on the front. That's what I'm going to go with. Okay, so I'm going to cut that out with my cutting machine, which is right here with me. My Stampin' Up cutting emboss. Let's just move it behind. Let's cut that one out. Here we go. I do love this die set. If you were to use this on a card, you've got this beautiful piece left behind. Look, that is so gorgeous. And then, but this is the sentiment. How lovely is that? Happy birthday. So that's going to go on the front, like that. Now, I'm not sure if I should stick it up on dimensional foam pads because I'm moving the card quite a lot. So I'm going to stick it flat. I think I'm just going to put my adhesive right in the middle because I might come back a little bit later on afterwards and put some of those pretty leaves and tuck them down the side, but I'm not sure. So I'm just going to give myself the option in case I'd like to do that. I'll definitely put something else on there. So we've got happy birthday. And then on this bit, I would like to put love you much. Now, where's the piece of paper? Here it is. Love you much, and I think I'll stamp love you much in the soft succulents. I think it'll show up there. Love you much. This would be lovely for a friend or a family member. I'm just going to stamp it here fairly randomly because I'm going to use another one of those lovely dies. So I'm going to, oh, I might have to stamp it again. I didn't realise it was so long, that die. Been ages since I used that one. All right, love you much. I'll show you why. So stamp that there because this die is fairly long. Oh, it would have fitted anyway. It would have fitted. How funny. Right, put it there and we will cut it out. Thank you, cat hair. Courtesy of my kitten. Actually, this one's stamped a little bit better. I think I had a little bit too much ink on that one. There we go. Love you much. I'm going to put a bit of washi on there so it doesn't move. There we go. Put it through the die cutting machine. It takes a second. Makes a nice clunky sound. You know what I could have done, which would have been much more sensible? I could have actually done all my stamping and die cutting at once with one pass. So we've got Love You Much, and then the last one I want to do is this one. So this one says, the little things you do make such a big difference. And I am going to put that on the on there. So I think I'm going to do it in the Fresh Freesia. It's a great colour. Like that. And I'm going to use another one of these same set of dies. I'm going to go for the stitched. See, some of them are kind of embossed and some of them are stitched. I'm going to go for the stitched one again because the other two are stitched. And this just about fits. The little things you do make such a big difference. Another piece of washi. What would we do without our washi, huh? Right, let's pop that through. There we go. So let's put that die away so it doesn't get lost. Right, okay, so put the lid on. Okay, so let's put this one on, then I'll put the Love You Much on. Or I could do with another little something here so that you could write on it, which is what I do need to do. So glue. We're already on 28 minutes. How is that? How is that? I haven't even chatted too much. How has that happened? So Love You Much. The little things you do make such a big difference. I'll put this one down. Yeah. Right down here to the edge of that panel, like so. Now let's have a look at what we've got. Is our card complete? Pretty much. You could put some gems on it. It doesn't actually have to slide, so I think gems would go perfectly well. You could definitely bling that up, add some more pieces on there, add some more. I'm going to put a little I don't know whether to put this one on here. Let me show you. Use this die, so that'll be the one that you write on. I think I'm going to do that. I might do that now, quickly. Because you need to be able to write to the person that you send your card to. So don't forget, if you're a card maker, Send your cards, guys. There, that's where I'm going to write, love you. Love from. Happy birthday. Yeah, if you make a card, don't forget to send a card. Hashtag make a card, send a card. Because we all make all these lovely cards. We need to spread the joy. Okay, so there we go. The little things you do make such a big difference. There's the card, finished. So how easy was that actually? If you think about the time, it probably was, the time was taken up just cutting out the little squares, to be fair. And that wasn't bad at all. So, infinity card. I hope you love it. I will put the measurements in the description box down below. I will be putting on my blog at some point at inkstampshare.ink. And you can find all the products from Stampin' Up over on my shop at katebolt.stampinup.net. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really do. And I hope you might have a go at it. Let me know what you think. And please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It makes such a big difference and makes videos get suggested to people who might be interested in them. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.